What is something you know, but you're not supposed to know? That my mother slept with several of the men in the neighborhood during the time my dad was very ill and literally dying. I'm sorry, man. That my not married to my dad mother enjoys threesomes. She's not the most tech savvy person in the world and accidentally posted a threesome request publicly on Facebook. Grandma liked your post. Spent a day getting drunk with my father, who I'm not that close with and hasn't really been involved in my life much, even though he lives one street away from me. Found out that the true reason that my parents split when I was 2 years old was due to my mother sleeping with my father's brother while my father was in prison. Also learned that my father used to beat my mother. They both used to do drugs and shady shit. And also learned that my father had the chance to have joint custody of me, but he didn't bother going to the several court dates that were made to settle the matter. The last one hurt the most to learn. You can learn a lot of secrets when you get people drunk, but some things should just be left buried. A family member is HIV positive. Doesn't want rest of family to know. When he broke down and told my mom, I overheard. She has passed and he has no idea I know. You might want to let him know that you know. Sounds like he could use the support. Only if you're going to be supportive, but I'm assuming you would because you haven't told everybody else yet. I was accidentally given access to all salaries for a large hospital. Finding out some doctors made $80k and others $800k was pretty eye-opening. Wow, $80,000 is insulting for a doctor. I know you shouldn't compare yourself to other people, but I would have a problem if that were me making $80,000. My supervisor is really close to getting fired. Upper management isn't supposed to talk about it, but they do. Probably because we'd all quit if we thought she was staying. She sucks. A lady at my work, who everyone hates, was caught stealing company money after literal years of suspicion. The news hasn't gone public at work yet, but I know she'll be fired soon. I'm a numbers guy who is good friends with our people. The kind of porn my dad liked when I was still living at home. And one of his Google searches was the brothel of a city he was visiting for a business trip. He wasn't very good at hiding this stuff. Never told anyone, and probably never will. My dad has been growing some apparently fantastic weed for over 50 years now. That's how he made car payments when he was unemployed for a few years, even though he could have worked but didn't. He's got a lot of nice things that are above his employment level. Didn't register one until mom told us who used to be her supplier when she was in her hippie days. Last I checked, years ago, he had the trust of numerous private landowners and the keys to the gates. They let him build and maintain feed plots for deer and turkey so he can have his own private hunting land and be out on his own. But I'm pretty sure I know how he pays and is paid now. Real country, this place. Fenced off gates to roads you have to go on foot through thick foliage to get around the gate that's blocking the only road in. Good 10 miles from the nearest police station. Some of those plots. As close as he is to the sheriff, I'm pretty sure he gets passes from the law for various reasons. My dad. This boring loner who's never been in trouble in his life. A real square who married a free love hippie. A weed outlaw. That my mom tried to have CPS take my daughter from me when she was born by claiming I used drugs while I was pregnant. I was 9 years clean. She tried again when I was diagnosed with cancer. You would be amazed to see what doctors actually put in your medical records. That when my mother was pregnant, teenage pregnancy, with me she drank and did drugs because she never wanted to be pregnant with me and was planning on leaving my dad, which she did a year after she had me. She went to an abortion clinic but couldn't go through with it. She doesn't know I know, and I will never tell her I know. I didn't find out until well into my adulthood and hold no hate for her. Regardless of what she did, when she was young she raised me the best she could and gave me and my older sibling everything she could and was a hard-working mom. Edit. Getting a fair amount of questions about my health or negative side effects from mothers, drug use and alcohol abuse while pregnant with me. To answer your questions, I have not had any notable side effects from the substance abuse. I'm a little on the tall side, 6 feet 4 inches, but other than that I'm pretty average with no mutations or physiological problems. That my mum and dad love my nephew who lives with us more than me. How do I know that? I heard them talking in bed. Edit 1 to anyone wondering, I don't really care, it doesn't affect me in any way, and I'm used to it. I have good grades, friends, and I'm happy, so yeah. I'm about to graduate college. My parents were teasing me about setting me up on a date with a guy with black hair whose name starts with an M. I was irritated and kept asking for more details, but wasn't given any. Yesterday, I was social media stalking one of my cousins and saw she posted a video of a cute black puppy named Maximum of the breed my dog growing up was that passed away while I was at college. I had been planning on getting one later this year. After thinking a while about why my cousin would get a dog exactly like the one I really wanted, I remembered what my parents said about setting me up with a guy with black hair and a name starting with M. I went back to the video and sure enough, it was recorded in my parents' living room. Guys, I'm pretty sure I'm getting a puppy next weekend. I actually feel really guilty for finding out. My great-grandparents were also brother and sister. I don't want to believe it, but I totally do. That in 3 weeks, a BuzzFeed article is going to pop up in my newsfeed. 24 people share the secret they weren't supposed to find out. The restaurant I worked at had some pretty solid sweet potato fries. They come frozen in a bag. Everyone thinks we make it in-house. That my ex is adopted. When we were long distance, I used to call her phone directly using Skype for free from another country. One time her mom video called her laptop in the middle of our conversation to check up on her and stuff. My ex went to the bathroom and I heard the mom's mom ask her when she was gonna tell her she was adopted. When my dad died, the associate pastor of my mom's church spoke and talked about how devastating cancer is. That pastor used to attend a different church, but had to leave after she faked cancer for 2 years. Her husband left her, and her daughter disowned her after they found out. My mom was the secretary at that church, so she knew and had already told me, and my dad's funeral was only like 2 years after that. I would have walked up to the podium and punched her in the face were it not disrespectful to my parents. 2 things. My dad watches porn while myself or other family members, but not mum, are literally a few feet away. He thinks he's good at hiding it, but has sometimes literally pointed the screen partially my way so I can see it without realizing. The couches we sit on are next to each other, but at different angles. Think an L shape, and hurriedly closes his tablet when someone enters the room. Not exactly subtle. Dad also know what kind he's into cause he never used to delete his history on the old family computer, and I once had to help him download an app on his tablet. Typed in one letter into the search bar and up came Rural that I hastily pretended I didn't see. Creeps me the hell out. How dangerously close my parents were / are to divorcing. Overheard them talking in the living room one night, my bedroom's downstairs, about how my mum apparently set up a different bank account without my dad's knowledge, how my dad won't be intimate with her anymore cause now he knows she doesn't want / like it. I was devastated back then. Now, I kinda wish it will happen just cause of how damaged their marriage actually is. I have a copy of a private investigative report on criminal conduct that the local DA unsuccessfully sued for to use in a criminal complaint. As a result, the subject of the report is still practicing because he was acquitted. I legally can't do a thing with it, even though I know he's still working with young people. I know what's in my mum's will. My brother gets almost everything 90%. I once kinda confronted her without letting on that I knew I was going to get that much less than him, and she said she would give him a larger share because he was weaker and not educated, whereas since I'm educated, I was going to be fine even if I got nothing. I accepted it and moved on. Nothing is worth my family, man. My grandfather was self-made, gave my father nothing but an education. He gave the rest land and cows, and within less than a decade they were all destitute and begging from my dad. My father is self-made, and he's given me an education. I will be self-made too. That my uncle's son is not his son, his then wife was banging her cousin and boom, baby. To this day, my cousin doesn't know and treats his dad, who raised him, as if he were his own, and had never said a word about it to anyone but me, like shit because of the lies his mother spread about him. I kind of want to tell him to do a DNA test so that he'll know and maybe, just maybe realize his mother isn't the saint she made herself out to be. Edited to add, he knows his son isn't his because he is completely infertile.